Almost every human culture from around the world has stories of cities that are hidden beneath the ground. From the mythic city of Agartha, said to lay at the center of the earth, or the shining city of Shambhala, that is rumored to be buried at the heart of the Himalayas. For most of history, these cities were thought only to exist in myth and folklore. As archaeology has evolved with better techniques to peer into the depths of the planet, many lost cities have recently been rediscovered, many of them laying deep within massive caves and cavern networks. Most of these magnificent cavern cities have their place in the historical record and seem to have been crafted with incredible intricacy and mapped and planned out as well as any surface dwelling. And yet, there are other cities that defy explanation and hold no place in the histories of their region. Why were these amazing underground dwellings built? What were the inhabitants hiding from? Do the histories of some of these sites go further back than originally thought? This case file, the theorists bring the theories straight from the underground in Underground Cities.
Welcome to Alien Theorist Theorizing Case File 96. Ancient Underground Cities.
Okay.
I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
Not gonna lie, forgot what we were talking about for a split second. How to think about it.
Been a good Friday. It's been a good Friday.
It has been an excellent Friday. One, we're recording on Friday, which we don't normally do.
It's been a while.
It's been quite a while. Secondly, if you're not on our Patreon already, get on it. We are now live streaming our recordings, so you can listen in live. So, you get a peek behind the curtain and expose us for the true ugly selves we are.
You can listen to how the sausage is made.
Yeah, it's all the ums and ahs that are unedited now on Patreon.
It's a stepping stone to a video live stream, which will come eventually when we don't start hating ourselves.
When we get professional makeup artists.
Yeah.
I need that or some. I'm gonna have to do like Facebook filters the whole time or Snapchat filters constantly.
I'm just gonna do the stretch face the whole time. That filter.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun to chat with you when you're looking like that. Also, June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, we're going to Alien Con. We got our own panel. Yeah. We don't know the date yet, which one of those days it's going to be. But if you're in the area or you're thinking about going to Alien Con, do it. What else works with that? We have a promo code.
You got to tell them the promo code.
I don't remember what it is. Oh, Theory. Theory at checkout or www.thealiencon.com/theory gets you a cool 10% off. Is that it? I think that's all.
That was great. Great ad
Did
there.
I forget something?
That was great. No, that's it.
Next up, Space News.
What do you got?
Let's see. First I had, former NASA chief scientist says humans could be on Mars in 5 years. But I'm like,
okay.
I'm guessing that's just like for NASA, because I guess, private agencies could reach that probably quicker than that. What's Elon Musk's time frame?
I don't know what he said something originally and he's pushed it a couple times, but probably before that, I'd say. He's hoping at least. So,
yeah, could be within the... I'm thinking we're going to see it. I can't wait till we can all sit down and we're watching the Mars landing on TV. I think that'll be cool. Sit around the tube. You know what? Well, I'll have to go somewhere. Well, maybe we'll rent a pub for that or something and do a live show.
Make it epic.
the day they're landing on Mars.
We'll get a whole we'll get a whole group of flat earthers coming there to protest it too, though. Make it even better.
That's all right.
Prove
This would
it.
make for a fun evening.
No, the flat earthers only say that Earth is flat. They know that the other planets are spheres because they've been observed.
They've
to be
been
spheres.
right, yeah. They've been
That's
observed to be
true.
round. That's correct. But just-
On the topic of Mars, this I love this one. NASA says there's a very strong possibility that first man on Mars is a woman.
okay.
I was like, that's a pretty, you got a 50-50 guess at this point, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 50-50.
Like your odds are pretty good. But I thought that was funny. I was like, well, that's I guess you're not wrong. It could be.
The chances there equally for both. Could be both at the same time.
Yeah. It should just be whoever does the most leading up.
Does the
Like if,
most.
you know what I mean? Like if you have a space chimp on that flight and like the space chimp's just been like really good for morale, just throw him out first.
He kept the team together. He was the underdog.
The glue, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he was the team guy. Let the team guy have it. Let the person who holds everyone together.
No, I think they mean that they're going to send an all-female mission crew.
It'd probably be more efficient.
I don't think there's going to be like a rock paper scissors between the like mixed gender crew to be like who goes out first.
Yeah, who's first? That's the only way. That's the only fair way to solve it too. Rock paper scissors.
I'm just okay.
That's not a 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's weird not to send a mixed gender crew at all ever. Like if you're sending just like an all male crew or all female crew, I'm like, there's got to be good people from each gender that would, you know what I mean, that would beat out some of the other people to have a mixed gender crew. I don't think it would be like
just best team all around, whoever that may be.
we don't need I don't need female Ghostbusters here. Just the best. Put the best astronauts up there. That's my.
Yeah, the best. Who's the best on the crew? Like that's
Yeah.
it. That's who's going.
That's who I want.
Doesn't
Don't
matter
put
who.
me in there.
Yeah, don't put
I
Braden.
won't-
Braden's out.
Yeah, 100%. I'm out.
Braden and Zell are we're both out. Dan.
Yeah. No, yeah, Dan, you're in the running, I would think.
I'm like
Yeah,
third
Dan's in the
string.
ring.
You guys are like
Yeah.
fourth string.
Oh no, dude. No. We're not even in the
We
same league.
We don't pass the drug
You're not
test.
even on the same sport.
I don't pass the drug test
I-
to be an astronaut. I'm out instantly. Gone. Chopped.
I wouldn't trust myself learning how to fly plane, man, let alone be in space. No way.
Okay. I got space news that I thought was space news until I read about one paragraph and I realized it was fake. But I'm gonna read it anyway.
Let me guess. I know what it is.
You probably
Can
know
I
what it is.
guess?
Yeah, you can guess.
There's a planet out there made completely of cannabis.
Not made of cannabis, covered with marijuana is the title. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. How would you ever know this? This has got to be, well, I was actually convinced at first till I read the first paragraph. And then it's like, planet X637Z-43 is 300% more potent in THC content than Earth. NASA scientists say that this new study will prove for younger people that space is much more interesting than not. Pretty much, it's like, oh, if there's cannabis on this planet, people will get to know it. Ha ha ha! Like, oh, this is stupid. But at first, I was so pumped on it. Fake news.
I saw that too, and then I was like, read a little, and I was like, oh, this is fake.
It goes down to like, oh yeah, the name of the planet's by 2 million votes is Bob Marley. Oh, get out of here! Get out of fucking stupid.
Get out of town. It's fake space news.
Would be cool. I have read articles too that they think that THC is not just a molecule like just for this planet. They think it might be out in the solar system or farther, but not that a planet is
It's an
complete.
entire nebula made of THC.
Let's go.
Oh, why not? Okay, now all of a sudden Zelly's now an astronaut. You got planet weed.
Planet weed.
To boldly get blazed where no man has got blazed before.
If the planet's made of weed, you send your best people up there. All right. That's all I gotta say. Send your best people. You know,
He's been training for years.
years. You can't if you've never smoked weed before. You know that first time when you get someone to smoke weed for the first time and they smoke like just a couple puffs and they get just absolutely fucking obliterated. It's their first or second time. Imagine like having an astronaut who's never smoked before. He's like the smartest guy in the world. He sets foot on this planet. The whole atmosphere is just like fucking condensed with like THC. So as soon as you take a few breaths, you start getting stoned.
All right.
The mission's over instantly. It's gone.
Hold on. First off, what kind of horse and pony show is NASA running where they're gonna let you step out of your space shuttle and take your fucking helmet off on this weird planet?
You never know. You never know what can happen.
You're just gonna fucking crack it open. They're all like, "Hey, you know what? Let's try something crazy. Let's all go out here without our fucking
You know what?
helmets on."
I disproved myself because that is true. Because so if you send a bunch of stoners up with spacesuits and they know the planet's infested with like concentrated with THC, they're going to step off the plane and take off their helmet and probably die.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, that's fake news, so it doesn't even matter. Next.
Well, this is going to be old by the time this comes out. Air Force to submit Space Force transition plan by March 22nd. So the Air Force, is the Air Force just going to be called the Space Force from now on? Or are they like the Air Force is like transitioning part of their stuff to the Space Force? But anyways, they need to get a memo ready, I guess, some sort of detailed plan, and they have till March 22nd to deliver the report to Acting Secretary Patrick Shanahan.
Acting Secretary. We don't have an actual Secretary of Defense right now.
Is that
Acting Secretary?
Is that brother of Brendan Shanahan?
I hope so. Probably not though, because Brendan Shanahan, isn't he Canadian? Isn't he a good old Canadian boy?
Good old Canadian boy, but it doesn't mean like.
So I don't think Patrick Shanahan would be that high in the U.S. Unless we're invading.
We're slow takeover.
Yeah,
infiltrating the Canadian version of Project Paperclip. Canadians into the U.S. slowly taking over one at a time.
Gladio. We're sneaking Canadians in high-ranking places.
High-ranking places, slowly taking over.
They look just like us. It could be anyone.
There's no way to tell.
The holy and trinity between Tim Hortons, NHL hockey, and the Canadian government. Project Gladiator. That's all I got for space news. I don't have anything else. Dan, did you have any space news?
Nope. Slow space news day.
Why don't we fire up the old randomatron and put it in for, I want a UFO. Give me a UFO
loading it up.
Story.
And we're thinking at it right now.
UFO.
Wow. I'm always amazed by how that baby purrs. I think it sounds even better live than it does afterwards. So, what do we got here? We've got a little blimp UFO fuck, I'm stupid. Photograph. I don't even know what word I was going to go try to say. I don't know. I didn't read the whole word, and I was just like phonetically going through it, and I was like, photographed?
What is going on?
Okay, blimp UFO, photographer. Now I forgot how to say the word. Photograph. Jesus.
Get out of here.
I forgot how to say the word. I forgot how to speak words. Can't speak words good now.
Braden, put down the pen.
All right.
Put down the vaporizer. Put it in the drawer.
Third tries the charm.
Put it in the drawer.
Blimp.
Lock the drawer.
Dude, I don't even have it. I just can't read.
Liar.
You know what? Someone was like, maybe you should get your eyes checked. And I'm like, I think I can see. I just think I can't read aloud. Blimp UFO photographed all over Missouri. I hope they don't have that word a whole bunch. Like now I've got like a mental block about it. By Roger Marsh. All right. Oh.
All right.
Jesus. That was a struggle.
What's going on?
Oh, it is. I have to say it lots. Hold on.
Oh, perfect. Everyone,
Photographing.
fasten your seatbelts. Here we go.
Photographing. Okay. A Missouri witness at Warrento reported watching and photographing. Fuck! I can't see it. And photographing a blimp like. Dude, I have a mental block.
I can't stop. I can't stop laughing. fucking losing it.
Dude, I don't know why. This is the weirdest thing. I've never had this. I have like a mental block.
You have THC.
No, because if I read
dyslexia
it,
now.
I would say
Like,
photos. That's how I say it. Photos. UFO photos.
Okay.
But if you had graphing at the end, I say it differently. I say photography. No, how do I say it?
You don't know. That's the best part.
Photography.
Photographing. Okay.
Oh, you know when you laugh so hard you get like a bubble in your chest and it kind of hurts? That's what's going on to me over here.
Okay. Photographing. All right.
Okay.
Oh,
Start again.
God.
I lost
We're
the
the
start of the
magic
story
actors.
already. You gotta start again.
Can we, I've thoroughly embarrassed myself on this one. Can we cut this out?
Fuck no way. This is
Photographing.
gold. This is gold.
Photographing? No, photography.
Now you're just doing it on purpose.
Why do I keep saying
Now you're doing it on
No,
purpose.
I'm not. Okay, I was legit. I'm good. Okay, I'm starting over.
This is not real.
Take two.
Okay.
Take two.
All right, take two. All right.
Okay. And blimp UFO photograph. Fuck. Over Missouri.
Unbelievable.
Shut up. Just keep going with it. A Missouri witness at Warrento reported watching and photographing a blimp-like object near the tree line. According to testimony in case 92800 from the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON if you will, witness reporting database. The witness was traveling northbound along Strax Church Road in Warren County at 11:15 a.m., June 19th, 2018. My business partner, driver, and I, passenger, were headed to our shop when I caught a quick glimpse of a rather large blimp-like object over the tree line to the north. Fuck, man. I'm focusing so hard on reading, I don't even know what I'm reading right now. Okay. Over the tree. Shut the fuck up.
I'm still recovering from
Over the tree
start.
line to the west-northwest at an estimated distance of about 1.5 miles, the witness stated. I can't. I have
You got it.
terrible
You got
cadence
it.
right now.
You got it. You got it. Your cadence is great, man.
Just
Keep
gotta
going.
breathe.
Keep going.
I asked aloud if he had seen it, and his response was no. Upon reaching the next hill, we slowed to get a better look. Again, a brief glimpse of a nearby tree line obstructed view. The business partner agreed he saw the object as well. We both agreed it appeared to be in an area of the baseball fields to our northwest. Upon agreement to give chase toward ball fields, okay, this is written weird. That's why I'm having a hard time. There's no like ands or thes. There's no connecting words. It's just
Right.
written like someone who doesn't speak English.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not my reading. I'll defend this. I'll send the link to this. Upon
Brain's
agreement
100% all
to
over
give
this.
chase
It's the way it's
toward
written.
ball fields. Listen to that. Upon agreement to give chase toward ball fields, as our elevation would allow, we maintained brief visuals of the object. It appeared as a dull color
Go
with a
pirate.
rather
Pirate.
reflective area in the center of the rear. Our estimation of size was very large, approximately 400 to 600 feet long and 75 to 100 tall with tapering aft. I don't know what a tapering aft is.
Something like the back of a ship or something.
It's
Yeah.
the back, so it's like it's tapering off. It just kind of goes in, like,
Okay.
into an angle.
And that's called an aft?
Well, the aft is the back of something. Like
Oh,
a ship.
okay, I didn't know that. Oh, like after. Oh. As they pursued the object, they noticed the object had put significant distance between them in a matter of minutes. This is in quotes. He and I also noticed it now appeared more north than west, so we assumed it traveled north in that time. When we reached the ball fields, our view was now unobstructed. We located the object, which was now due west and a considerable distance from us. My business partner was able to zoom in maximum with his phone's camera.
Zoom in. Maximum.
Who says that? I was able to zoom in
Maximum.
maximum with his phone's camera and got one photo just prior to the object pitching to about 40 degrees and disappearing behind the tree line a few hundred yards out in front of us. The object was never more than slightly above the tree line on the horizon of our view. So I have to assume it was less than 500 feet off the ground. Also, the profile never changed despite the noticeable changes in direction of travel. At the time of the photo, the skies were clear and the object was at what we believe to be max visibility at the time. The distance it was covering was remarkable. It disappeared from view and never returned. The entire event lasted 4 to 5 minutes. Missouri MUFON Chief Investigator Joe Palermo and State Director Debbie Ziegelmeyer closed the case as an unknown aerial object. Oh, thank God that's over. Oh,
Good story.
that was it? I don't know. I was
Oh, I didn't comprehend
Photography.
what you read.
photography, photographing. It's because I kept wanting to say photography, but
Yeah,
you can't.
I
Photography.
get you.
I don't know why, dude.
You got beaked on Discord. Someone said, "Can we get Braden hooked on phonics?"
I think I'm too old to learn.
It's over. Too late. You're stuck with it forever. It's all good.
Oh,
That's
whatever.
great. Made my
You
night.
know what? Oh, that was painful.
There we go.
Every time someone chirps me, is like, "You can't read," and I'm like, "Man, I read books all the time." And then I read something and I read it that bad, and I go,
Ah,
"Can I
God
read
damn it.
though?" Maybe I'm not reading. I'm
Can
just
I
flipping
really
the pages
read?
of these books. Oh, jeez, it's painful. Oh, okay.
fun.
What are we talking about today, Zell?
Ancient underground cities. And the reason we're talking about this is, well, mainly that I actually started reading Magicians of the Gods by Graham Hancock, and it gets to like the Göbekli Tepe, and it starts talking about this place, Derinkuyu,
Yeah.
which is a place in Turkey, like pretty much central Turkey, that is, they say up to 18 stories, like 200 feet underground, could house between 10 and 20,000 people. And the leading theory right now is going for that it was built at a time when, I think it was like the Hittites back in like 500 BC or something. They're hiding from enemies in these tunnels. They built the tunnels pretty much to hide from enemies. But what Graham Hancock and like others say is that a lot of these dates that they've kind of like they started to kind of date these tunnels earlier than that, like up to like 12,000 years ago, and it's kind of like coinciding with like Göbekli Tepe and like the end of that Younger Dryas period where they think that comet hit the ice caps, and then they think actually another comet hit like about 1,200 years later to end like an ice age. So they're pretty much saying there's two theories. There's the ancient alien theory, which is like aliens came down to Earth because they knew there was going to be a cataclysm, and they taught people, or like either taught or helped people build, like go underground to like get away from like this superstorm that was coming, or that there was just an ancient culture that was super advanced that got wiped out by the ice age that like tried to preserve their knowledge by building this.
Or they were hiding from someone.
Or they're hiding, but from who? Straight
Yeah.
aliens?
Maybe.
Anyways.
Or like maybe like when I saw this, like, okay, well, should we get into the first one here? Why don't you talk about the first one?
Yeah, so Derinkuyu is the one is the main one in Turkey, and they think it's about, you know, just like 500 BC, 1000 BC, built by people. It's like I guess like a softer volcanic rock, but it's built into the ground, 18 stories, up to like 20,000 people could live in this place. And there's like hundreds of vertical air shafts that are, and some of them are actually like water wells. And from the surface, you can't even tell that there's like an ancient, like a city under there. So the theories start to abound endless, from like they're going underground to hide from enemies, or to, like I said, like the Graham Hancock, like cataclysm. And they went underground to hide, like to live out the cataclysm as the surface was destroyed pretty much.
And this one was like recently rediscovered.
Yeah, 1963.
Yeah. And it was like some Turkish guy was like, "Hey, what's this room in my basement?"
Well,
he's just like,
they're excavating.
Oh.
They're like excavating to build like a house, and the guy just like breaks through the floor, and there's all of a sudden this like tunnel. There's like, oh shit, this has like no end to it almost. And there you go, giant underground city, no big deal. All right, Dan, and what do you know about Darren Kuyu?
Well, Darren Kuyu has been around for a very long time, but like we said, it was recently rediscovered in 1963. Before that, the oldest written source about the underground structures were actually in written histories by a guy named Xenophon. And Xenophon was a Greek soldier / historian who is actually the head of one of the most famous Greek mercenary bands called the 10,000 in history. And this guy was so famous.
That's his band name?
Yeah, the 10,000.
So not as good as the 300, but pretty good.
Oh no, these guys were better than the 300. Way
What?
better, actually.
What?
No, I'm not kidding you. This guy Xenophon, like generals today study his tactics for
Murdering people.
like strategic withdrawals. This guy took his 10,000 mercenaries, and they were hired by one of the princes of princes of Persia. After one of the kings died, there were two brothers fighting for the throne, and one of them hired Xenophon and his 10,000 soldiers. So these 10,000 soldiers ended up going to war with the one brother. Problem is, once they got way deep into enemy territory, that brother ended up dying in one of the battles. So this guy had to take his 10,000 soldiers and march across pretty much all of Mesopotamia in order to get back to Greece. Like they were in hostile territory for miles and miles. It took them months to get home.
So it's like an ultimate,
on foot,
like an ultimate version of the movie The Warriors.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Behind enemy lines.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is
and-
100% the story of the Warriors.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah. You can look this guy up in history books, and I think he's in some of those like badass of the week things. But this dude was the ultimate badass. He took his soldiers all the way back, multiple battles, and they won a majority of them, all the while retreating, like running away.
Oh, dude, you know what's crazy? I just looked it up. The Warriors film is based on that, 100%.
That makes sense.
Really?
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome.
Based on
Yeah.
Xenophon's Anubis. Or-
Yeah, that's the name of the history. The history is called the Anabasis, which is
Yeah,
basically
Anabasis.
called like the Anabasis is for like get out and run or something. It's something I can't remember.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
because wasn't the Warriors, it was like, what, 20 versus 20,000 or something? No, I can't remember exactly how many numbers, but something like
They
that.
were outnumbered, and they
Yeah.
had to go all through all the different enemies' territories.
To get back,
Yeah.
to get back to Coney Island? Is that where they were from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Xenophon had to they had to fight their way through not only like the hostile Persian forces, but they also had to fight their way through like mountain tribe areas and all this like crazy stuff all the way through. So they weren't just fighting like one battle. They were fighting multiple battles and all the while running away. And so modern day generals study his tactics for strategic withdrawals. Like that's still valid strategies on how to, run away while fighting.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. But yeah, he wrote, those are the first times that they have a written source of the Darren Kuyu structures. And so people have archaeologists pretty much make the assumption that these structures were built by the people in Cappadocia in Turkey as a means to escape pretty much because that place is in that place has been in a constant state of war for God knows how long. I don't think it's had like a moment's peace for a really, really long time. So the people needed a place to hide. So they built all these places. And then after they hollowed it out, it had been used by lots of different groups of people. Like you had the natives of Turkey using it. You also had Christians using it back when Christianity was not the hottest religion on the block. You had people in there because they have found evidence of what looks to be like Christian worshiping sites built and carved out of the structures in the Darren Kuyu things. But the fun thing is like Darren Kuyu, they think might not be the largest one anymore, even though it's super huge. Some people archaeologists have actually found another site called Nev Sahir.
Mm-hmm.
And this places might be actually bigger. They haven't. I don't think they've completed mapping it out yet, but they say it may be as or more extensive than Darren Kuyu.
Yeah, people think it's not just Darren Q. People think there's like hundreds and hundreds of underground cities, usually around like 1 to 3 levels, but some like Darren Q, like 200 feet deep.
Yeah, I think it's probably their version of bomb shelters. It's like, how else are you going to try to avoid constant raiding bands and people coming into your village and burning it down every now and then? You might as well just go live underground. And they probably heard about the success of some of the villages building their own places, and they're like, you know what, we should do that too.
Okay,
It's not like you're building that overnight, though.
that's what I mean. I got an issue with this, and I'll tell you my issue. So whoever's coming, they're coming to burn down your city, steal your women, steal your resources. So you're gonna try and get away. You're gonna go underground. But then there's hundreds of these cities all over. So do you not think that any invading force, like army, would go in there and be like, oh, well, where'd they go? Well, underground.
Yeah, but the thing is like an invading force would go in there, and it's like they're not really there to kill the people. They're not there to kill the people or take the women. Oh, they might be there to take the women. That's just kind of like a side. That's kind of like a bonus, right? They're there. Most armies, when they go into villages, even like, for example, Xenophon, when they were retreating, they didn't go in to like slaughter villages. They went in to go get supplies. So, it's like you probably would just leave out your stuff, like, whatever, some of your grain stores or some of your livestock or something for the armies just to take. And then you would just, while they're doing that, you would just run into your shelters. And then, because they said that most of these places, when they were built, you'd only have 1 or 2 entrances that were able to be blocked by these huge slabs of stone that they could roll into place and then like essentially lock it into place, and they wouldn't be able to get in.
No, but Darren Q's like proven to have like hundreds of surface entrances. So it's like,
well, they're saying that those came later. Like some of the archaeologists and the articles I was reading, like those were later additions, or people found ways into it over the hundreds of years that it existed.
Okay, so I need to get this straight.
Get it out.
So what you're saying to me is that this is built because, you're trying to hide from an invading force. So this wasn't built overnight. So what you're saying is, more than likely, people had started to build it, got raided, people came in, probably took over and were like, hey, look at this little underground room. Had they finished this would have been a good idea. Maybe we'll work on it now. And they worked on it till they were invaded by someone else, and it like other people just until it was done. Because
I think you're seriously underestimating like the state of like that Mesopotamia had been in. Like, it was constant wars.
I guess so.
There was probably like 100 years, where they were just like there were fights between like the Muslim and like the Persian nations. Like, they were just going to war all the time.
If one person escaped, they'd be like, yeah, we were building this underground little like room, but it wasn't done yet.
So I mean, like, underground is not a good place to hide, because if eventually after these things, like especially Darren Q, this is not like over 20 years. This is over like generations and generations, probably hundreds and hundreds of years, unless you're an alien and you built this thing overnight. But
no, I'm not saying that it wasn't built. I'm not saying it was built overnight. I'm saying that a lot of those places were like additions. They probably started out in one area and they kept adding on and adding on. You're like, hey, you know what? We need to put in. What are they had wine storage. It's like, dude, when water gets scarce, you gotta be able to get drunk.
They had a 180-foot ventilation shaft.
They were there. This thing was built for.
You need those.
This thing was built to live underground for extended periods of time. Not like you go down and hide out for a month. This thing was like built for like you're going down for a long time. They had like livestock down there, ventilation shafts. You had fucking wells. You had all this shit underground. So there's two theories.
Once they burn down your village, like, you have to have some place to live while you rebuild.
Yeah, but even if you barricade the walls, like, they can just dig you out.
That's what I mean. It's a bad place to hide.
I'm guessing,
I think it's a terrible place to hide.
In defense of that, though, people were just, had bad ideas back then, I think, in general. Like, maybe this, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, let's try it. And then they're like, God damn it. They just keep digging in. This was a bad idea.
Okay, so this is the mainstream theory that these places were built, and not just there, hundreds of places all over Europe, not just in Turkey. These places have been found in Germany, up in Scotland, like throughout the UK, like all across Europe, different places. So there's the mainstream theory is these are the only obvious reason is because they had to be used for protection. Like, why else would you build sophisticated 18-story things underground that have withstood the test of time? Like that, there's no evidence of collapse in this thing at all. So right now they're thinking this thing's like, 2,500 years old, 3,000 years old, pretty old, and no collapses. So this sophistication of engineering into these underground city. This is a city, underground city. It's not like a big cave where they had a one entrance. They sealed it off to hide from people. This thing was like made for extended use, is what it was. You had livestock. You pretty much had farms down here and all this shit. So there's that theory that it was used for, the mainstream theory is for use for protection. Okay. And then there's the new theory that's slowly being adopted, that about 12,000 years ago, because they can't date this place. They can't date the stone. So they're just dating by other history around the area and what was found inside, pretty much. That's like a lot of these ancient sites. So the other theory, like Graham Hancock and these people, that the cataclysm came, and there's two theories. The ancient aliens theory, that aliens maybe were here on like witnessing what happening on Earth and help people survive this cataclysm. More far-fetched, harder to believe, but an awesome theory. And then Hancock and the boys are saying that there was an advanced people on the planet at the time before the comet hit, and they built underground bunkers across Europe. And there's actually underground bunkers like this, and they all kind of have the same kind of style in North America too. So their theory is that this was built as like a time, like people were so advanced at the time, or at least one culture was, they managed to build these places to like survive the cataclysm, which lasted like 1,200 years pretty much. So humans pretty much lived underground, and their theory is these giant rolling doors, because they have these huge circle doors that you can roll across entrances to each like floor in Derinkuyu. Their theory is that was more like a weather block rather than like to block people out. Because if you it's a big block when you look at the pictures, but if you're an invading force, like,
you would see it like there'd be a hole in the ground.
That's what I mean.
Like, what's this?
Because it's on every floor, so you go down like, okay, there's something guarding this. You could you could break the rock if you really wanted to get through. You could break the rock.
Yeah, but you need like siege equipment to do that. And most of the raiding forces aren't like, if you're going to go raid a town, like you're not built for a siege. Like you're not going to go in there and be like, if you're an actual general, you'd be like, go find the food, burn down the houses, whatever, and then burn the fields. And then we leave. Right. So if you're living underground, of course you need farms. Of course you need places for livestock, because you need stuff to rebuild. Like you can't just go you might as well, if you didn't have those things, you might as well just go hide in a cave.
No, damn. But what I'm saying is if it was surviving it's not a siege, it's not set up for a siege, it's set up for something else, like stop something from getting in. But if people wanted to get in, they could easily like break this one. It's one stone. Like if they really wanted in, it's not like they were trying to wait out the people underneath to get them out. They're like, if you wanted to get down, like the entrances are all over. It wasn't like a hiding place. It didn't like they knew if they were there, they would have known they're down there. Like, so I'm saying the other theory is that because these places are so similar and all around the northern hemisphere, which is like the impact of the Younger Dryas comet, they think that these places are actually not just built for. I'm not saying that they might have been used for protection when people found them later, but the people that first built them as a bunker for like the nuclear winter, which was caused by the comet that destroyed the ice caps. That's the other side. That's the other theory.
I think that's plausible. That's fine. Like we don't know how long those things have been there.
No,
right? We don't know how much, because you can't carbon date rock, and there's not many artifacts and stuff left in those places. But even the artifacts that were left in there, that's no evidence of how long those places had actually been inhabited by humans. So yeah, they could have been built a lot earlier than what was originally thought. I think what they thought they were around like 800 to 700 AD or something like that. That's what they kind of date them at, I think. But yeah, how long those caves have actually been there and how long that had people actually been using it as a shelter of some sort, that's pretty much anyone's guess.
Yeah.
Got another out there theory. You hide underground because it's easier to hide from things in the sky.
Like?
UFOs.
Giant birds. Pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls.
Mesopotamia had a huge pterodactyl problem, if you didn't know.
Yeah, huge problem. Aliens.
Tons of aliens.
Alien pterodactyls.
That's my alien throughout to this theory. But I'm like, it's to me, my mind goes to like an earth-ending event. That's what I think. Like, some people, heard like you got to go underground. You got to seal off. You can't have the air becomes poison, right? You got to be careful how much you let in.
That's one of the theories, and it kind of coincides with like the discovery of Göbekli Tepe, and then you have all these underground cities across Europe, and like the Middle East, all kind of like eerily similar. So, it kind of seems like it was done by like a like the same kind of person. Kind of like pyramids around the world are very similar, and like the theory from like the alternative theory of pyramids and stuff, it was done by maybe a not necessarily fully global spanning civilization, but like at least like across oceans, like from Central America, South America, Egypt to China. There's the same type of pyramids. So they're thinking that the same type of thing, whatever happened, at the end of the last ice age, if it was a comet, or some people think it might have been like some type of giant solar flare. Less evidence for that one, but whatever happened, people went underground is what the other theory is. And that, maybe the Hittites and other people later used these things for protection because they were there. But the level of engineering and stuff seems way more than people should have had at the time. It's just kind of like one of those ancient structures, like, well, we don't know how they built it, but it's there, so therefore they must have built it. It's kind of like the thinking. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I got delayed there.
It makes sense to me. I mean, that's that's the thing about caves, the caves and like natural structures and using natural structures for habitation. It's like you don't really know how long people had actually been in there or how long they have been using it. But if people had been adding on to it that easily, and they like that rock, especially Derinkuyu specifically, and some of the other structures in Turkey, known structures in Turkey, like they have a lot of like volcanic rock, so it's a lot softer and easier to shape. At least that's what most of the geologists say. So
easier to shape and stuff, but now when you go 18 stories deep, you really have to know the engineering of how to have enough to support the floors above. So it's not like you're not just digging through soft rock.
If they went deeper, like that would have been later, and those people probably would have learned from their mistakes, I would think.
Could be.
So I would say that probably like the caves that were closest to the surface would have probably been the earlier ones, and then the ones that went deeper, I mean, duh. Like if you're digging, it's like the ones that are on top would be the earliest, and then the ones that go towards the bottom would have been the ones that came later.
I wonder how heavy these stones are that they roll in front of the doors. I'm like looking at pictures of them, and I'm like,
they're about 2 tons, I think.
How are they moving them? It doesn't look like a lot of area to get a lot of leverage if you block the passage.
Well, they're round, so they roll. I think they kind of like roll them with a stick.
Oh, okay. I see on this picture. I found another picture. I thought they kind of like dropped into place, but I see they probably roll out, hit the wall on the other side, and then you can push and roll it back.
Yeah.
And then you just wedge the other side, because I was like,
yeah, pretty much. Seems how they're built, at least.
Interesting.
Now, what about other ancient cities though? There's not just this one. There's hundreds across, and some of them are more popular than others.
I mean, you have underground cities all over the world. I mean, even in Rome, like Rome itself is built on older cities. Like all of Rome is built on older cities. Like I've been when I went there to Rome, we went underneath a lot of the underground structures are built underneath churches because they used to be like secret Christian worshiping sites. But you go in there and you're going like 4 or 5 stories down underground, and there's these it's almost like houses, living spaces, everything, which is incredible to me, but if you want to go really far back, then I think some like the original ones, people think like there's still people believe, or some experts believe, that there are still underground cities beneath Egypt or beneath Giza. on the Giza plateau, at least.
Yeah, they say there's an underground complex on the Giza for sure.
Mm-hmm. And some people date that. I try to find where they say, oh, somebody's like, oh, it dates back to at least 15,000 years. I tried to look up where somebody got those numbers, and I couldn't find where anybody really got those numbers from.
Well, the thing, yeah, that's the same type of thing with the pyramids. They're like, well, there's Egyptians here at this time, therefore they must have built them because they say they were doing work to them. So it's tough to tell who really was the first. Like the Egyptians obviously built to the pyramids and like temples and stuff around, but doesn't necessarily built everything. Just because like the same thing like the Sphinx. They're pretty much proving it now that the Sphinx has got to be way older than they say because of the weather erosion in the Sphinx enclosure. So there's definitely a civilization before the Egyptians. Say the Egyptians did build the pyramids, and all that was 100% true. The Sphinx is now proven to be like at least double as old. So more closer to the time of Göbekli Tepe rather than Egypt.
Right. I mean, they're saying things about how some histories specifically mention the Sphinx, and they say how the head had originally been a lion and it wasn't really the face that we see today. Right. I mean,
people say that like that, and that goes like with the like precession of the equinox stuff. Like it would have been like the age of Leo, which would have been, many thousands of years before they think it was built.
Mm-hmm.
But then everyone's like, no, they didn't know about that. They didn't know about the precession, but then they kind of did though.
And there's a lot of strange kind of stuff that comes out of like Arab history, having to do with the Giza Plateau and underground areas under there. At least I think one Arab writer whose name was Atelem Sani, and apparently one of his histories is preserved in the British Museum, and it reads about how a group actually had entered the Great Pyramid through a tunnel, and then they had found a side chamber in which they had found a glass goblet that had a very strange color, or it looked a very rare color, and it also had a very unique texture. And said when they were leaving, and they were done exploring, they said one of the party actually went missing, and then upon returning to find him, they said that he came out to them naked and laughing, and he said, "Do not follow or seek me," and he ran back into the pyramid. And then so I don't know what to make of that. That they believed that he was enchanted or somehow had gone insane, or perhaps seen something that he couldn't possibly explain. But that's one of the kind of stories that comes out of there. Like there's something underneath the Giza Plateau, and nobody seems that eager to explore it, or people do seem eager to explore it. But a lot of those, it's also rumored that there's like a large water transport system underneath the Giza Plateau. Like there are caves, and there's evidence of like water movement through their artificially created waterways and things like that. But all of that stuff is off limits, is sealed off by the Egyptian government.
Yeah, it's like people want to research it, but it's been sealed off by the gatekeepers, pretty much.
Interesting.
I was like, well, they always say about there's that room under the Sphinx's paw too. Like people, they think that it was there before and it's been sealed up, and no one they won't even let like testing go on around there, like that LiDAR testing.
Yeah.
Weird. I wonder why. I wonder what the reasoning is.
Well, say Egypt, like how long? Like for about like 500 years now, they kind of been, the story of like Egypt has been building, and like Egyptology has like built this, like this is what happened in these dynasties, and this who did this. So if something came along that really threw that off of whack, and they're like, well, we cannot, like this does not line up with anything we've been teaching, it would really, a lot of people got a lot of time and life invested into that theory. So I think it's when those type of theories try and be challenged that they're really hard. Like there's a lot of pushback, I think. So if there's something that's like the smoking gun, like, you know what, the theory you have is not 100% correct, people seem, I think, more reluctant to like kind of accept. It takes a long time to be accepted, I think. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, you have a lot of these Egyptologists have been doing this for so long, and like, they have made themselves out to be the experts and they are the authorities on this stuff, but we keep finding more things that question the previous previous assumptions and their versions of history that they are. And like, these are their careers, you know, and they don't necessarily want some of this stuff to get out, or I'm sure they have their own motivations to keep this stuff covered up because it would put their careers at risk, their livelihoods.
100%. It's be a slow transition of thought. Anyways, what else is in? There's more stuff around there too. What about like the city of Petra? That like super uniquely carved entrance in that.
That's where they keep the Holy Grail, right?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
You have chosen.
The penitent man, the penitent man, the penitent man. I 100% thought that was fake for almost ever, and I thought that was just a movie thing.
Right? It's fucking crazy. Right into the fucking wall of the mountain.
Yeah. And like so intricate and in the middle of fucking nowhere.
And they think some people are trying to date that place to like 9,000 BC. So they think Petra is like that. It's like approaching Göbekli Tepe era. Some people say, and it's like carved so precisely. It looks like it's so artistic, like the carving into the wall.
Yeah, it's stunning. Yeah, it says something that all these places where they can't really date and they're not really sure exact how old it is, all go underground.
That's what I mean. It's like it's a theory that's building that these places. Okay, well let's throw the theory that Petra was a place to hide from people because it's ornately decorated. Like this is the entrance. It's not hidden. Like this is the entrance to the city with a big ass door. A fucking 30-foot door into the mountain. So I don't know. They can't all be initially used for protection because this thing is wide open. Like there's no protection here.
Yeah.
You go in. Even if you barricaded the door, it's still an easy entrance.
Well, it's just so it goes to say something like what, why is everyone going underground and stuff and all these civilizations going under there, and then you hear theories of like them building like an underground city underneath the Denver airport. You're like, interesting.
Why is everyone going underground? What's about to happen? What do they know?
Yeah, I just always think of some sort of like earth-ending event where like civilizations knew something was happening and they just like hunkered down and then just get blasted back to the Stone Age.
Well, you have the stories of like the Paiutes. I think it's the Paiute Native Americans that have the story of how their ancestors were led underground by, I think they call them like the ant people or something like that. It's like
Mole Man?
Like, no, not Mole Man, Ant-Man. So Paul Rudd.
Oh.
An entire civilization of Paul Rudds led the Paiute Indians underground during like a cataclysmic time in their history to keep them safe. There are mythologies from all over the world that have, almost every single culture has an underworld, whether it has to do with death or that's where the gods are from, things like that. I mean, you have the Mayans and the Aztecs, they held their caves and their cenotes, which they believed were entrances into the underworld. And those were holy places. And we keep finding these temples or shrines underneath the ground, underneath pyramids. Like they just found that jaguar god. They found that whole stash of jaguar god shrines and offerings that they had. I think it was the Aztec ones. And, there's always been a fascination, or there's been something about the underground that our ancestors either knew about or something was special about it. Cause it's like, why else would they try so hard to get down there? Why would you go down there to perform these rituals? And why would it be such a special and holy place?
It's true. Why underground? I guess
you have places like in
caves are awe-inspiring though. When you like see like a big entrance to a cave, you're just like, oh man, this is insane.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have done. It wouldn't. I don't know if going underground would have done well in like a great flood. Might be a bad place to.
No, but not the whole world was flooded. Is
Yeah.
the biblical thing, right? Sea levels would have rose for sure. But what's the elevation of this place in Turkey?
Oh, okay. I had a interesting thought just popped in my head. I'm going to say it. Might sound really stupid.
Yep.
I was just thinking about. I was reading and then I was looking at the Great Flood, and then I'm like, oh, in my brain, I wonder if there's ever like the Great Fire, and I'm like, well, I guess that could have been like when the meteor hit, right? And then I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's like a great hurricane, like all the elementals, like you had
And then the
Great
Fire
Flood,
Nation
the Great
struck.
Fire, and then like we always hear about the giant earthquake coming, right? The big one. Always wait, that's gonna set off all the volcanoes.
and only the Avatar can save us all.
Well,
Master of all four elements.
yeah. So no, yeah. So go underground until
He
he
shows
comes
up with his flying
to
bison
save us.
no.
to save us.
Well, here.
No,
well,
it's-
the thing at Derinkuyu though. We're going back to Derinkuyu for a second. This place is 1,300 meters above sea level, way above any type of flooding that would have resulted.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be in any kind of danger of
So
that.
the comet, this is how it went. The comet came through Earth's atmosphere, fragmented, struck the ice cap in multiple places, instantly incinerating large volumes of the ice cap, like huge meltwaters and floods, and all that water vapor would have resulted in huge rainfall, I'm sure.
yeah.
It would have disrupted the ocean's currents and like how it works, how it just like distributes like heat around the world. And this is what because no one really sure what happened at the Younger Dryas period, because it was a warming from the last ice age, and all of a sudden got plunged into an ice age again, which Graham Hancock and all these colleagues are saying that this cataclysm, like the comet, hits the ice caps, disrupts climate so much, plunges the world back into an ice age for like 1,000 years, 1,500 years, and then slowly comes back out of it. And as it comes back out of it, you kind of see they're dating that to Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, but that's a big stretch, because with that this would have needed to be built.
That's why the theory is an advanced culture or an alien race knew the comet was coming, and they built these to protect humanity. Because a lot of people say like the Younger Dryas almost wiped out humans like completely, like high 90%. So like the people that survived, the theory is that these people are the ones who went underground and had advanced knowledge, or were given advanced knowledge by whatever means, either a different civilization who knew it was coming, who had advanced astronomy. I don't know about telescopes, like who knows? But that's the other theory, is that somehow they knew. There's ancient alien theory that aliens came down, helped them build this stuff and preserved life, or that we were just advanced enough at the time to see it coming and prepare. That's the other theory.
Yeah, that's a weird one, because I'm trying to think of like, okay, if we were spacefaring and we were like, we had some sort of except we would never, we fucking land on a planet, whether or not we know if something's there or whatever, even if there's some microbiome, we're just like, yes, get on it. But I was like, if we had some sort of Star Trek pack where we had like a non-contact thing with life, and you knew with our technology that a comet was going to come and hit this planet and potentially wipe out all surface life, would you not interfere, or would humans go, life's...
Why are you saying humans?
Right?
Why are you saying spacefaring humans?
I don't know. I'm just saying, would humans do it? Like, would like our civilization
No,
help?
we have the Prime Directive. Can't interfere.
Well,
I don't think-
in Star Trek we wouldn't, but you know,
Okay, so I'm like saying aliens come
They are
down. They're like,
terrible scientists.
maybe
right,
they're
we're gonna.
they're not coming.
Big.
Maybe aliens aren't coming down. Maybe they are just always been watching. They're like we're the science experiment.
That's
Yeah,
And they're
that's
like-
such a cool theory, but I'm like, God, that must be like the most boring job. Like 10,000 years, you have to keep an eye on them. You know, maybe these aliens are extremely long lived or whatever, but it's like, dude, 10,000 years.
No. You're an alien. You're an alien species that advanced. You're not personally keeping an eye on. you have tools or satellites or some type of technology that keeps the eye on us, on the planet, on what's going on, all the measurements.
10,000 years.
Something's happened. Yeah, but why
Well,
not?
I mean, look at how far our
you're that
civilization
advanced.
has
You've
come
been
in
you've been
10,000
advanced for a
years. Like, why would they even care about us in 10,000 years?
Dude, maybe time. That's assuming time affects them the same way.
Yeah, we're thinking about too human here. Too human.
Yeah. We don't even know that they would experience time in the linear fashion like we do.
Interdimensional. They don't we divided time how we divided it, and they have a whole different. They experience time different, maybe. Who knows? I'm spitballing theories. I'm spitballing all the theories I've heard. Because we're gonna make these elaborate caves just to survive an attack when we could just run to the hills ahead of time if they're not going to chase us anyway. If they're not going to chase you down into the ground.
I don't think people would run. Yeah, I think people would if you're looking for safety. No, if people have been looking for safety, we've been taking shelter in caves for thousands of years. Like that's where you would hide when that was the place to get out of the rain or the snow or, well, I think actually we avoided them for a long time because, cave bears ain't nothing to fuck with. Fuck, those guys are fucking huge.
I still get hung up on the fact though that if we're building this thing, just because we like to hide in caves, we want to make our own cave. The amount of time it would take to make this fucking thing would be crazy.
But not the whole. I'm saying it's just not the whole thing. Just to make a little beginning of it. Like you set up a village outside that area and say, okay, we need to build someplace underground. It's like building the Ark. It's like building Noah's Ark. It's like you just take time to do it, but you can do it. Right. I think they would be able to do it, especially they were able to work with the rock there since it was easily shaped, and they were just fortunate enough to have that kind of rock to work with. And
you know what? The big thing I always forget is what the fuck else are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's what I always forget. Like back then, what the fuck else are you going to do?
You got nothing else to do, man.
Survive.
I've said it before. We
Every
could
day
dig a 30-foot hole like bored in the bush. You could. You'd just be so bored.
30-foot hole, we could not do it without technology.
Yeah, can't you remember being a kid and you're like, man, there's something to do. Let's dig a hole. Like that was the most fun thing to do. Is dig a hole.
Yeah, and build and build a fort. That's all I wanted to do as a kid. That's primal. 100%. This makes way more sense now.
In your DNA.
You're like, I want to dig a hole and build a fort.
So no connection between Younger Dryas, Comet Impact, and humanity surviving. Just whoever survived was just lucky. There was no one went underground. The few who survived they survived and restarted civilization on their own.
Well, I'm going to say that maybe rather than having to have aliens come down or whatever, you can just slip it into our DNA. Like dig. Like, you know what I mean? Like dig hole, like seek shelter. Fort, like, because when I was a kid, no one was attacking me, and we'd build spike walls and shit on our forts in the forest. Like we would barricade the fort. We'd have a secret entrance. And I was like, we were just kids having fun. And I was like, that was what we'd have. What were we thinking? So I'm like, why not? You could plug that into a species DNA. You're like, shit's coming. I want them to oh, dude, this is getting me into the simulation theory thinking.
Okay.
So than that.
Okay, but as you're a kid, it's different. You have no worries. You don't have to worry about food or your next meal. But as you become an adult, at that time, especially, you need to eat. There was economies. It wasn't there was no economy. It was they had a reason to
that goes back to being they didn't have to do this, but then you go look at places like Göbekli Tepe, which were built around the time where people were still hunter-gatherers. You were still reliant on nomadic food sources.
No, they think they were hunter-gatherers. That's the theory right now. They think they were hunter-gatherers.
We're just Sims. We're just Sims playing Age of Empires here. You guys hunt, gather. Now you bunch dig. Okay.
We got to build our
and
wonder.
Then for 10,000 years,
we got to build our wonder so we can win. We need more influence points.
Dig. We're just a video game, man. It all comes full circle. We're just a simulation. It's the only way this makes sense. You're just yep, go, and now you will dig. And now you will build a pyramid. And now we're going to build a city.
We're going to build a hot tub.
Oh,
With
you
the
know what that
robot
means?
butler.
Godzilla's coming. Oh, my head.
It's,
Pop.
Braden just blew his own mind.
Oh. Yeah. How long do you think we've gone in this one?
No
About
idea.
an hour?
No idea.
Okay. I just don't know if I'll be able to do a lot of after hours because I still have to get some stuff ready for my trip.
Oh, look at me. I'm Mr. Braden. I got to do things and go places.
Well, I'm a cool guy and I do cool things. So I just can't read.
Everything but read.
Do we have any other underground cities we want to talk about, touch on before?
No, I just like the theory of the underground cities more than I know more about that more than all the cities combined.
I just want to make
Still,
an
it's-
honorable mention of the Longyu caves before we go.
Which ones are those?
The Longyu caves are the ones that they discovered in China after like a village decided to pump out these caves near there. They had like an underground kind of pond, and after they pumped it out, they discovered that it was this huge cave network that were man-made. They said that the caves are huge considering they're man-made. They said the average floor area of each cave is about 1,000 square meters. With heights about 100, almost 100 feet.
Jesus.
And so they said there's the total area comes out to about like 30,000 square meters, and it's all man-made.
Used for protection?
Nobody knows. There's no historical record of this existing ever. Nobody even knew about it. Even the village that lived there, they didn't know that those caves were there until they pumped out the water.
That's what I'm telling you, man. This goes back way back.
There's
way
like,
back.
and there's like, there looks like there's primitive carvings on the walls. There's all these like stelas, reliefs, and things like this. They're not intricate in any really way. There's no real carvings or, you know, it looks like what could be considered like a history or writing. But there are what looks to be intelligently designed, you know, rooms. They look man-made, and there's no historical record whatsoever of these
cool.
ever existing.
Those are fucking cool.
Those are super cool. So I'm hoping to hear more about that as they do more studying about it.
Get on it. Dan, get on it. Get back to us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me go get my stuff. I'm going to
Yep.
China, everybody.
Dan's going on a archaeological trip. He'll be back in
Let me go get my whip and my hat.
6 months. Yep.
Get my fez and put my fez on.
All right.
Anyways.
And your smoking jacket.
My Yeti fur lines, Yeti jacket.
Anyways, there's hundreds of underground dwellings across Europe, from Scotland all the way to Turkey and beyond to Jordan and farther.
It's just fun to think about. Why are we
And
digging holes?
Why are we fucking digging so deep and so, you know, why? Why so deep? Why so many? And why everywhere across the whole place? Can't be dated. Just whatever was found there, that's how they date it. They're like, well, this was here. These guys lived at this time, therefore it must be these guys. And why else would you dig besides protection at this time? Like, there's wars going on. It's obviously the easiest answer, it seems like. But at the same time, you go back, you find these structures that are so much older than we should have been building at the time. You know, 10, 11, 12,000 years ago or older. I don't know. Who knows? But it's fun to theorize about.
Hashtag look it up.
Look it up.
Think about it. We don't have any new 5-star reviews, and
Get out.
that's not a slight. That's not a slight against anyone. We've actually recorded this one earlier, so there hasn't been a lot of time between our last podcast. So.
Yeah, we haven't got the actually weekly update probably, actually. Yeah.
So, no new 5-star reviews. Any on Facebook?
I did see some pop up. Come back to me in a second. I'm going to see if I can find them.
Well, we're on reviews. I
Quick
got
vamp.
one. I got one. All right, here we go. This is from Tina Palmachan. She actually, I'll read her review, but she also sent us a beautiful message, a private message. I read halfway through and it brought a tear to my eye. So I was like, oh, you boys should read that after as well. Here's Tina's 5-star review. Awesome conspiracy podcast. Work can get tedious at times, and the boys do an awesome job of getting you hooked on alien abductions, government conspiracies, paranormal activity, and cryptids. You know you have been binge listening the shit out of the podcast when you start reading the reviews exactly how Braden would. So you struggle through them. All of you guys bring great personality, making it such a fun listen every time. Keep up the great work, guys. I just want to add that if you are reading this and you aren't open-minded or too sensitive, don't listen. It's that simple. Hashtag no butthurt zone.
Where'd you even find that review? Where was that?
Unless you've been probed, then please tell us all your story. P.S. Thanks to the shout out to our small town of Zealand on case file number 27. I was shocked. I've been recommending your podcast to everyone. Thanks, Tina. That was a really nice review.
Zealand.
It's a Facebook review.
That must be an old one.
It popped up as brand new.
It was probably just most helpful. So that was helpful. Number one helpful review.
Yeah, it was a good one. That's all I had for reviews.
Got Maddie Bob. Just started listening to you guys and absolutely love the podcast. Great views on conspiracies, and I've never seen more Canadian national pride as I witnessed in episode 18, Ron Pond. Canadian national pride, it's true. What else I think that's it. That's all we got.
Got some new Patreons. I've also noticed there's a couple Patreoners who think they're getting slick.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, have you figured that out? I'm starting to see a trend here by a couple.
A little up and downs.
A little up and downs nonstop, because then their name pops up at the top of the notifications all the time.
Oh, trying to game the system, huh?
Yeah, trying to game the system. Well, it worked. So I'm actually didn't. $10 pledge. So we got new Patreoners. Trent Digioa, Gustavo Tapete, and that's it. Those are because we've recorded so close together. There's not a bunch of new ones together. There's a bunch of people who keep editing them up and down. You guys think you're slick.
We're on to you.
I see you.
We're on to you. I see you.
But we can't stop it, so just keep doing it. Who cares?
Yeah. And that's all I got. Who's your prolapse of the week?
God damn it! I closed it somewhere. You guys remember who that was? The guy who sent the picture from the volcano?
Was it on our Instagram? It was
no
awesome.
idea. I have no idea. So someone quickly find it. What was this guy's fucking name? I had it earlier. Somehow closed it down. Got a little too drunk. A little too stoned.
It on Facebook?
I have no idea. That's what the problem. This is the problem I go through now every day. I don't know where stuff comes from. When I see it, I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool.
I saw that too, and I was like, I also said, "Oh, this is cool."
No. Everyone, bear with us. We're gonna find it. We're gonna do it.
All right, buddy. I found it.
Where is it?
Eric Molina.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Yeah, I win.
Where was
I
it?
win the game of find it. Eric Molina. He repped the ATT Alien Theorist Theorizing original stacked gray T-shirt at one of an active volcano at El Cerrero Verde in El Salvador. Is that how I say any of that?
El Salvador.
Salvador.
Photog.
Photography.
He sent one mean mugging too at the top.
Dope.
Yeah.
Where was that on?
Yeah, 100%. It's on Facebook. It's in like the inbox, but you just have to scroll way down to Tuesday. You see it, Eric Molina. He sent a wicked mean mugging at the top of the crater. Zealous prolapse of the week, Eric Molina.
Oh yeah,
absolute legend. Absolute legend.
Fuck yeah.
Any other news? Anything else we got to plug?
Stay tuned, because very shortly, Lucky Monkey will have 4 new songs online. Check them out. I'll make sure to spam everyone and let you know.
Oh, I want to listen to them. I think I've heard a bunch of new songs, but I can't wait to have them on my phone. Also, if you're not already on our Patreon, we're trying out new things, which is live streaming the podcast. So you can join our Patreon, get on our Discord. You can live chirp us as we're recording the podcast. It's not distracting at all.
No.
As I was getting instant chirped and my anxiety level was going high as I was struggling to read and everyone was live chirping me.
Just tearing into Brayden. You can hear the pain
in
his voice.
If you want to live chirp the theorist, join our Patreon.
Yeah.
All levels get access to our Discord channel. It's
Live
a good time.
chirps all day long.
and you can chirp us at all times, and we get notifications.
We will know right away how you feel about us.
That's part of the deal is we can't turn off our notifications, so it always just beeps and it goes, this person.
Ba-ding. You're like, oh, who said what now?
Yeah. Oh, God damn it. Not again.
No, it's actually, we get really good discussions going on there. I always like coming when there's a whole bunch of unread messages and I scroll through them.
Pop on, so it says 45 unread. You're like, oh, shit. Go.
It was popping off. I wonder what everyone was talking about. Anything else we got to plug?
Nope.
All right. Thanks, guys. As we always say at the end of these, keep those eyes on the skies.
Growing businesses and finance professionals, you need Bill Spend and Expense, the free-to-use spend management software. It's powered by the Bill Divvy Corporate Card, which helps growing companies scale with credit lines of $500 to $15 million, automated expense reports, and as many virtual cards as you need. For a limited time, get $500 when you get started with Bill Spend and Expense. Request a demo at bill.com/get500. Terms and conditions apply. Advertised credit ranges are not guaranteed and are determined at approval. Card issued by Cross River Bank, member FDIC.